Annie is picking up her son's bags from the mental health hospital Wooton Lawn in Gloucester. His discharge a few weeks earlier was one of the most traumatic experiences in both their lives.
So I'm going to play you a clip. This is from a recording that you recorded on the day that your son was discharged.
We are going to formally discharge you at 4:30 this afternoon, so you won't be a patient on this ward at 4:30. And if you do refuse to leave, you will be trespassing and the police will be removing you.
We're not going to identify Annie, but her son allegedly assaulted another patient. He denied it and begged to stay because he was having suicidal thoughts. Minutes after being forced to leave, he'd thrown himself off a bridge.
Just walked out of the door and jumped headfirst off a bridge. And he had smashed his skull, smashed his face, had a brain hemorrhage, smashed 2 arms and 2 legs and punctured his spleen.
Afterwards, the mental health unit left some, not all, of his bags outside for Annie to collect. Luckily, he'd survived. I had been speaking to Annie prior to this happening because she was trying to raise the alarm about Wooton Lawn. She felt her son wasn't getting proper treatment or care, and despite being sectioned under the Mental Health Act, was frequently going missing.
I asked the consultant if I could have an email address so I could make sure that my concerns were down in writing. And he turned around and he looked at me and he said, "I'm going to block you. I'm going to block all your emails." He did not want to know.
Images we've obtained from inside the hospital show staff asleep who should be ensuring that patients are safe. A dozen other patients or their family members have told us of similar concerns.
I'm Heidi.
I'm John.
John's wife Heidi was in Wooton Lawn last December.
I've never seen her care plan, I've never spoken to a doctor. I'd called the hospital to ask what's the progress, what's going on. Never got anything back.
Are you talking about over a period of days?
Over a period of the time she was there.
Heidi, who was in for 8 weeks, would also go missing from the hospital, sometimes looking to harm herself. Once discovered walking down the same train tracks where Annie's son tried to kill himself. Heidi felt she was discharged prematurely and returned asking to be readmitted, saying that voices were telling her to take an overdose.
So they let me out and I went, "Well, can I have the bag of pills back, please, that I was going to take?" And they gave the bag to me. I left the ward.
The pills you said you were going to overdose on, they just gave them to you and let you walk out the door? They
just gave them straight to me and let me walk out the door.
And what happened?
I took the pills and I think I rang my husband after that to tell him I'd taken the pills.
Heidi ended up in A&E.
You climbed up onto the roof, you were hearing voices.
Jamie, not his real name, is another patient who says he wasn't properly watched. He was able to get on the roof of the hospital and jump off.
I broke both my legs, my wrists, my arm and my back and my pelvis in the daytime, but I managed to get on top of the wall, climb up onto the roof and jump off.
And what, in your mind at that time, what's going through your head? Did you know you wanted to jump off the roof?
No, I was hearing voices.
Right.
And I should have been in a safe place where, you know, I can't get out and there's no roofs that I could jump off.
Yeah.
But I wasn't in a safe place at all.
Jamie also felt he was isolated from his family and said he was mostly being looked after by inexperienced agency staff. Another patient, Nikki, is currently in Wooton Lawn, and these are photos she's taken after repeatedly climbing on the roof. Her parents say the level of care is inadequate.
Well, I've seen staff asleep. I've seen staff, when she's been escorted to the hospital, fall asleep. I have seen the chair on the door empty so that patients are able to abscond. I have actually seen patients walk out of the hospital and Nikki have to say to a member of staff that patient is not allowed leave.
This is Nikki on the left with her twin sister Laura, who the family lost to suicide after she was also a patient at Wooton Lawn. An inquest found the Gloucester Hospital had failed to pass on crucial information about Laura to another hospital, which led to a fatal mistake.
We believe there was a systemic problem because the information wasn't known. Then Laura was placed in a position of ever-increasing risk until the point of someone gave an item that she should never have had. In fact, nobody should have that item in the intensive care unit that she was at.
Gloucestershire Health and Care NHS Foundation Trust, who run Wooton Lawn, told us they're disappointed to hear of these reports and apologise to anyone who hasn't had a good experience. They cannot respond with specific details due to patient confidentiality, but were already aware of the cases detailed and have reviewed them fully. They take the allegations of staff sleeping on duty very seriously and will investigate further. They say 2 of the wards are classed as secure, but the majority of patients are allowed to leave when appropriate, and this is managed carefully. The hospital says it receives regular positive feedback, but knows it doesn't always get things right. But charities nationwide have growing concerns about the state of mental health services in the UK. Wooton Lawn appears to be another example where patients are being failed.